Hello everyone, welcome back to Malik Joe 34 channel. This is Mallikarjun. In this today's session, I'm going to deep dive into ASH report, and then I'm going to clearly differentiate how ASH report is different than my AWR report, and how you can generate the different kind of ASH report in case of standalone rack and instance wise, rack database wise, everything I'm going to explain in details, and also I'm going to cover how you can read and interpret your ASH report and in which all areas you have to look in more details. So everything I'm going to cover in detail, and I'm going to deep dive into in-depth knowledge of ASH report. Okay, so before ASH report, I already covered AWR report and in-depth interpretation, and then how you can read your AWR report. Everything I covered in a detailed explanation with a standalone and with a rack AWR report in my previous session. If you missed out those session, always you can refer it in my YouTube channel. And if you're new to my channel, always go back to YouTube and search for Malik034, and then please do subscribe. If you like my videos, please share, like, and comment. Right, let's get started with the today's session. Okay, so before I get into ASH report, I just quickly differentiate why we need ASH report irrespective of whether we have AWR report, right? So the first basic funda is like how to identify bad SQL. Like on what scenario you can say my SQL is bad and it's a bad SQL, and where to look my bad SQLs in AWR report or in ASH report, where we can find out. So for these two questions I'm going to cover. Once I cover this today's session, you will identify on what scenario you will say your SQL or query is a bad, and where exactly you have to look in what scenario which report will help. Right, AWR will give, if you can see here, AWR will give me only top SQLs. It will not capture all of the SQLs ran at that particular time. For example, today now it is 11:37 p.m. and at that time if I generate AWR report, it will not give me all the queries which ran at this time. It will capture only top SQLs. Other SQLs are executed at the same time, which will not be captured in the AWR report. Example, I'll give you some basic example. I have a standard program and it used to run in a 10 seconds, right? And then today it is taking a 1 minute. Comparison with the 10 second to the 1 minute, obviously that query is a bad query. It is not running, it is not meeting my SLAs. As per the application or a business perspective, SLA is 10 seconds. At any cost, since that is a standard program, it has to run in 1 minute. And why it is taking 1 minute? It has to run in 10 seconds, and why it is taking 1 minute today? So I need to look into that particular query, and I need to start tuning that particular query. I need to start analyzing that particular query, why it is taking 1 minute. Since this execution is within 1 minute and it is not that significant, and my AWR report will never report as a bad query in my AWR report, right? So AWR report will report only top SQLs. So since this is running it, completing it within 1 minute, so I will not be able to find it in my AWR report. So but since still that standard program is taking 1 minute, at point of application or business perspective, I am breaching SLA. I need to look into that query and I need to tune that particular query, right? So and then where I can look into that particular query and where I can get the execution plan, and then which report will tell more about that particular query, right? Then I will look into ASH report. If the application team coming up and complaining out these type of issues, right? 10 second it is running and it taken 1 minute, and 1 minute is supposed to run and now it is taking 2 minutes, and 2 minutes is supposed to run, it is taking 10 minutes. So these kind of issues, if the application team is coming and reporting these kind of issues, then you have to look into ASH report. For the most of the these kind of issues you will face it in banking sectors and OLTP and OLAP servers, right? These are like common issues they will come up. So we have to tune that. So to tune that, you have to look into ASH report. So let's get started with the ASH report in depth understanding, and as comparison with the AWR report, and then what exactly it contains, comparison with the AWR report. So AWR report is what, like I am taking a snapshot in a time interval. So I have a time slab, I have a timeline, and then with that timeline I will be generating a snaps of every 1 hour or every 30 minutes based upon my settings. I will be generating these snaps, and then I will be reading my AWR report. AWR has timeline, and in which we have taken a different snapshot. It has a timeline, and every 1 hour or every 30 minutes or every 2 hour we will be taking a snapshot, and we will give a begin snap and end snap while generating AWR report. If I want to generate AWR report in this particular two time slab, right? So time slab, I will give a begin snap and end snap, and then I will generate AWR report in this particular timeline, and then I will interpret what exactly happened during this particular timeline, and we will try to find out what happens at my DB during that particular time period, right? And then, but AWR will not give you each and everything whatever happened during this timeline. It will give only top SQLs and top overview of the issues. Whatever happened at my database, it will give a top overview. So if you want to go in detail what happened during this timeline, you have to look into $$ session. I'll come to the ASH report. Before that, I wanted to clarify what exactly the $$ session. $$ session is a dynamic performance view. As everyone knows that $$ session is a dynamic performance view, and whenever any session connected to my database, I can find it out using $$ session. Whether that session is active or inactive doesn't matter. $$ session can log that a particular row in my $$ session, this dynamic performance table. The information about what session is doing at what doing at my DB at given time. So right now, how many sessions are connected to my database, and how many are active and how many are inactive, and each session what are active, and then what those sessions are doing at my database. Everything will be you will get the information about $$ session. For example, I given like few examples here. Like at 9 a.m. session 1 connected, that is user 1 connected and is doing some update, and at 10 a.m. the another user or session 2 connected and it's doing some delete operation, and at 11 a.m. session 3 is connected and then it is doing some select operations, and at 11:20 a.m. session 1 it went on idle, so it is not doing anything. Like this kind of information, everything will be logged into this $$ session, right? So I have a $$ session. Using this $$ session, I can take it out, right? Like, and I can predict what query is doing, whether query is running perfectly fine, or whether his query is taking a lot of time, or whether query is choosing a bad execution plan or good execution plan, and how much query has processed. Everything I can with the help of $$ session, I can get all the information. But still, why we need ASH report? Why we need ASH report? So the question is, if you see this particular red line, what I given here, application team are coming and complaining at 5 p.m. that morning 10 a.m. my query was not running properly. Then what you do? Right now time is 5 p.m. and the application team, they are telling morning 10 a.m. my query was not running fine. As I said, $$ session is a dynamic performance view. You can check it out at this particular time, given time, at right now. You can find out your database, what all query running and how they are running, and what all sessions are inactive or what all sessions are active. Only you can find out those information. But at 5 p.m. application team are coming and they are telling at 10 a.m. in the morning my query is not running fine. Then where you find it out? Even though if you generate AWR report, no guarantee whether you will get that particular query in your AWR report or not. So that is why your ASH report comes into picture. You have to run your ASH report and you have to check it out what is going to happen, what was happening at 10 a.m. right? I'll go to the next slide, right? So again the same question stands. Application team is coming and complaining at 5 p.m. that morning 10 a.m. my query was not running properly, please check it out, right? Option 1, as I said, you cannot check $$ session, right? You cannot check $$ session. Why you cannot check? $$ session is instantaneous, so it will give you only information what is happening right now in your database, whether it's active or inactive and which query is doing what, right? And but the question here is, you have to go back almost 78 hours. You have to go back right? Next option, you may generate AWR report and check for that particular query, but no guarantee you will get that particular SQL, right? Because AWR report will log only top SQLs and overview of that during that time what happens. And the third option, you are left with, ASH report. Only ASH report now comes into picture, and you have to run ASH report and look into that what happens to your database at 10 a.m., how the query was performing, and what was the reason why it is taking longer time, right? So then if that is the case, then I will just go in brief before I come into exactly with ASH report. So if you understand about VDollar session, as I said, it's instantaneous. Right now it will capture what all active and what all inactive session, which session, what they are doing, everything you can get it at your database level. And then again there is one more view, that is VDollar active session history. That is the in-memory view, right? VDollar active session history, what it will do? VDollar, as I said, VDollar session is a dynamic performance view, and that will capture active information, active sessions or inactive sessions, and everything you will get it. So out of this VDollar session, every 1 second I will take only active sessions. What session doing what, and what it is executing, whether it's a select, delete, or insert, update, or joins, or whatever it is. I will take only active sessions and every 1 second, and I'll write into VDollar active session history. That is an in-memory view. So I will be having my memory from SGA, and then I'll write into this particular in-memory view. That is VDollar active session. Application team is coming and complaining about this particular issue, right? They are coming off almost after 7 to 8 hours. But how long you can hold data in your active session history? That is, you can hold data only for 1 hour. If the data is older than 1 hour, you will not be able to find in your active session history. So what happens? Every data, whatever data in VDollar active session history, I am going to write into my DBA history active session history. 1 in 10 seconds. For every 10 seconds, I am going to write whatever data in active session history to my DBA history active session history. Right? So only data for 1 hour you will get it from active session history. If the data older than 1 hour, you can find it out in DBA history active session history. And remember here, DBA history active session history, I am taking 1 in 10 entries, right? 1 in 10 seconds. So if I have a 10 entry here, and every 1 second I will return here 10 second entry here, but out of that 10 entries I can take only 1 entry to my DBA history active session history, right? Since this is an in-memory view, it will not be having data about, it will be having data about last 60 minutes. And what happens to the data beyond 60 minutes? Everything data I am going to flush into my DBA history active session history. So in basically, so if you want to trace any particular query, either you can check with a VDollar session. If it is right now you want to check the active session, you can check VDollar session, and if the query has ran last 1 hour or 30 minutes back, you can check VDollar active session history and then find out the details. And if the query has run beyond that 60 minutes, like 1 hour back or 2 hour back or 3 hour back, you can check it out in DBA active session history, right? These are the three combination: VDollar session, active sessions history, and then DBA history active session, all together you can form your ASH report. So I'll just go in detail in my next slide, right? You can see here application team is coming up and complaining at 5 p.m. that morning 10 a.m. my query was not running properly. So then what question you have to ask? Is that query took more than 10 seconds? If the answer is yes, then you will get it from DBA history active session history. Else you will not find it, right? As you can see here, DBA history active session history, I am going to write 1 in 10 seconds. Every 1 in 10 entry I am going to take it here. Every 10 seconds I am going to write it here. And if the query has ran more than 10 seconds, that 100% guarantee that you will get it in your DBA history active session history. If the query has completed within 10 seconds, there is no guarantee. Again, there is no guarantee you will get it from the DBA history, active session history. Based upon the sample time, it will take the entry into DBA history, active session history. So it is depends whether that query has captured during that sample, or whether that query has not captured during that sample. So it again depends, right? So, and the only question you have to ask is whether the query has took more than 10 seconds. If the answer is yes, it took more than 10 seconds, it's 100% guarantee that you will get it in DBA history, active session history. If the query has completed within like 10 seconds or less than 10 seconds, and it is very hard to find out, very hard to trace that particular query, right? Again, then the next question is, next application team is coming and complaining at 5 p.m. that 30 minutes back my query is not running properly. So 30 minutes back means you should not check your DBA history, active session history. You can directly check active session history, because active session history is holding 1 hour data. If I can go back again, so active session history is having a 60 minutes data, 1 hour data. You can find it in active session history, which is older than one hour. You can find it in DBA history, active session history, but that too 1 in 10 seconds, right? So if this is everything is clear, then I will go into technical aspects of my ASH. So how ASH will collect the data, and what it will collect the data, and how sampling will happen, and how you can predict the ASH report. So everything we will start it in depth understanding. Let's check it out. ASH, what is the ASH? You can see it's a sampled or and detailed and non-intrusive and activity of your data. In simple words, it's a samples active sessions are every seconds. You can see here this particular diagram here, this particular box collects active session data only. ASH in memory, it collect active session data only, right? You can see it's a part of Oracle 10G. It's a by default, it will come with your Oracle product, and it is licensed as part of diagnostic pack, right? So if you read these particular writings here, it's a history of session weights or a VDLR session and some other it will capture some other states. It's a circular buffer like 1M to 128M, and approximately 2% of your SGA, and again depends upon your memory size and all, and it is flushed to disk for every 1 hour or 1/3 if the buffer is 1/3 full. And if you look into this one, right, again same, like these are the samples of your active sessions or VDLR session weights, and everything will be sampled, and it will be written into my circular buffer and right into my ASH buffer in SGA. And once the buffer is full or 1/3 full or every 1 hour, that will flush to my disk. It will write to disk. It will take only active session. It will ignore, it will not consider idle session. And if I go if you see here ASH samples session states like reading, running, idle, waiting, whatever it is, like it will take a sample for every state, and then it will write into my circular buffer, and then from buffer to disk. If you see here, if you run this particular query, it will say what is your buffer size, ASH buffer size, and if you find this particular query, select minimum sample time, maximum sample time from active session history. It will give you the sample timing. So if I can write this in my database, okay, so SQL plus classes, let me set the environment. Okay, so this is my ASH buffer size, and if I can find out what is the minimum and maximum sample. Okay, yeah, this is my minimum and this is my maximum sample. Next sample time, minimum sample time, maximum sample time. Okay, you will find it out if you find it. There's a lot of things if in VDLR session history. There's a lot of things. You can go to each and every field. You can see, right, so many blocks, so many things in active session history. So sample ID, sample time, so many things you can find out. You can go through all these columns, right? So I'll go further. ASH and disk. ASH and disk is nothing but you are writing VDLR active session history to DBA history active session. So this is nothing but DBA history active session history is nothing but you are writing from in memory view to your actual disk, your data disk, your disks, your physical disks. ASH and disk capture as part of AWR snapshot. DBA history active session history is the table, you can find it out here, and it takes the samples in in memory ASH 10-second samples. Every 1 in 10 it will take it from your active session history. On demand flush if required. Whenever circular buffer is full or no data in the circular buffer, or every 1 hour it will flush to my disk. 7 days history by default. It's a partition table, and for easy of purging, and it will be hold 7 days by default, 7 days of data. If you see here again, VDLR session or VDLR session waits, everything, all the session states, object, and what session is doing what, which object is accessing, what query it is running, select, delete, or update, or whatever the state of my session, with the help of M-on-L, M-on-light, this MNL. This is a background process is going to write into my circular buffer in SGA. You can find it VDLR active session history, and from this circular buffer I'm going to write into DBA active session history, DBA history active session history. So I'm going to write it into my DBA active session history. So what all it's going to write into my DBA history active session history? All the session information, all the active sessions and wait sessions, and wait event like P1, P2, P3, and SQLs, what it will capture in SQL ID, OP code, and plan hash values, and it will capture the objects like object number, file number, block number, and the application wise what it will capture, it's a programs or which modules are and what action, client ID and service, everything it is going to capture, and combination of all of the above, and cubes and roll-ups. So everything it is going to capture, and it's going to write into my DBA history active session history. So as I said, like ASH will be captured in the form of samples. What is sampling? What is sample? ASH sample session states. If you can see here, these are like different states of my sessions, like reading, running, idle, waiting. So whatever the state, like you can see here, 10 1 second, 10 2 second, 10 3 second, 10 4 second, 10 5 second. Every second your session state is getting changed, but sessions change, but we want to main picture. Whatever session it's going to change, my ASH samples, I will take a sample of each and everything based upon my particular timeline, and I doesn't bother about whatever the change in the state of my session. From reading to running it will go, running to idle it will go, idle to waiting it will go, whatever the session change, I don't bother. But whenever I take a sample of my ASH report, so it will capture the main picture, what is happening at that particular time. If I take a sample at this time, and I will get it out what session is doing, it is the running state, right? If I capture sample at this time, and it will give me the what the user session is doing. User session is currently waiting, right? So I want the end result, end picture, what session is doing at that particular samples, right? ASH samples session state, session change a lot quicker, but can get a main picture via sampling, by sampling faster. If I can sample at each and every state by if I sample it for every second, I can find out all the session, whatever the user sessions are doing, I can find it out. If I can sample for millisecond, I can find furthermore what each user session is doing. It all depends upon how frequently you will sample it, right? So but you are not going to take all the samples, you will take only few of them. You may sample it every second, or every 2 second, or every 10 second, but how frequently you can write your sample states to your DBA session active session history, that will be captured into your ASH report, right? It happens lot for a long, we will catch it guaranteed. Whatever the my session, whatever whatever the user session states are getting changed, I don't bother. When at the end, or what, when we take samples every millisecond or every microsecond or every second, so I can get the exact picture of user session what it is doing, right? So whatever the quicker, whatever the fast session user session states are getting changed, I don't worry at all, because my sampling frequency will determine what user session is doing what, right? Session states are like IO, it is a means reading; CPU, it means it's a running; wait, it means it's waiting for something; and idle means it is not doing anything, it's a idle session, right? Idle session, like example, SQL net message from the client, all idle session, you can see select name from event name where wait class is idle, like 58 rows selected. And CPU, it's running state, you can see session underscore state is on CPU, or wait underscore time is greater than 0. If you query this particular where condition, you will see running state. And if you see waiting, if you see session underscore state is waiting and wait time equal to 0, and wait classes are like all this: administrative, application, cluster, commit, concurrency, all this, network, other, and scheduler, like 800 plus wait events. And IO is like it's reading. You can see session state is waiting, and wait class is user IO. If you query this where condition, you will see your running state or reading state of your session, user session. Okay, so sample for all the user, you can see session 1, session 2, session 3, session 4, like user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, whatever the session, n number of session can connect to your database, it will sample for all the user sessions. Like based upon your sample frequency, it will capture and it will get the exact picture of each session. And then, like, if you can see top CPU sessions, you can see like these are the where condition, you can see session underscore wait equal to on CPU, and then you will get what are the top CPU session, who is consuming more, everything will get it here. And then result will be like this session ID is these many threads are waiting on CPU, like you can find it out. And top waiting session, you can query this particular SQL top waiting session in last 5 minutes, you can see session state is on waiting, and sample time, you can give the sample time, so you'll get this waiting. And then this is the result, like this is a session ID, and this many counts, and this is waiting. And then top SQL from ASH, and then you can run this particular SQL where SQL ID is not null, and then you can find this particular ID, you will get the top SQLs reading or running or waiting, all this you will get it from this particular SQL. Right, this is the SQL ID, and this is CPU and wait time and IO and total, these many total wait, and then you will find it out SQL ID wise. And top sessions, you can find this particular SQL, and the result will be the session ID, serial number, user ID, and the program SQL plus, and this CPU and wait and IO, you will get the result like this. And the top session username, you can find it out with the username, and the result will be like this: the status, session ID, name, and program, the top wait event. So these are like backend queries where my ASH report will capture all this. So you can run it manually by all these programs, or you can simply run your ASH report. So I'm going to run the ASH report in few minutes. Okay, see this, if you understand all this is a basic funda, I can say, so for whatever I covered. So now I'll get into technical details, like how you can generate a AWR report, and then how you can read the AWR report, ASH report. So to generate ASH report on the local database instance, you can use ASH RPT, ASH report in the command line, right? So if you want to generate the instance specific, you can give ASH RPT I. This is instance wise. In case of rack, you can give any remote rack name and all. You can generate ASH report for that particular instance. And similarly, ASH report, ASH RPT high, it's applicable for my rack instance. So I'll go with the standalone database. I'll run this particular ASH report. So connect to your database, just run this. You can give the moment you run it, it will ask you to which type of report you want, text or HTML. You can give HTML. HTML is the default option, and default it will give 15 minutes. You can give begin time and whatever the value, like you can example like minus 25 or this date minus 1 hour 15 minutes. It's like whatever the timeline you want. Example like time date you can mention and time you can mention, or whatever. This all example. You can give any format, right? So I'll just go with the default 15 minutes, and then I'll default is this date minus begin time. You can give anything, this date minus again these are the different option you can give it. So I'll just go with the default, and this is the default report name it will give, or you can give any specific name. It will generate report on that name. You can see it started generating my report. AWR 1 underscore 1020 0007. You can generate ASH report, and then you can read that one. I will just exit ls-ld. Yeah, okay, ls-ld is the report, right? See, this is the report it generated now. So I already copied one sample report here, and I already opened here. You can see here, this is the sample report, how it looks, ASH report. Okay, so this is about the report, how you can generate, and this is about the MOS document. Okay, so generating ASH report, you can refer this one, this particular report, this particular MOS document. It has a clear detailed explanation. You can refer that one, right? Going further, ASH report, if you can see here, sample time and begin time, end time. You can mention, as I say, like you can give begin time or end time, or you can mention elapsed time like 15 minutes, or you can give like 30 minutes, 1 hour, and whatever timeline you want it, you can give that one. And then DB history, active session history, it will take DB history, active session history. From that it will take, and this is a snap, the begin snap, end snap. From the AWR snapshot it will take, right? So you can see here in AWR snapshot, and then it will for 30 minutes. And sample count, these many sample counts, and average active session like 92, and average active session per CPU like 0.88, and the target report target, like if you don't give any name, like it will not give any name here. Like again, like you can predict top user event, whether what kind of event, top event, like row cache log, CPU or wait for CPU, DB file sequential read, and TX allocate ITL entry, or TX row log contention. Like you have to predict what was happening. If the DB file sequential read is so many, it is in the top event, then there are so many user IOs. There might be a lot of user transaction, like a lot of writing to the data into your disks, or there will be a lot of data they are reading, like full table scan. It is reading a table from my data file to my buffer cache. Like you have to predict it based upon the user session, right? So you have to look into top user wait events. If I can go to my sample report, and yeah, top event and top user wait events. So you have to go for top user wait event, and that will give you what was happening at that time, what was happening my database level, whether it is a DB sequential read, or memory buffer cache issue, or like you can predict it out, what kind of issue you are having it at your database. And then you have to go with the top event like P1, P2, P3. If I can go to my this one, top event P1, P2, P3. So if you see here, top event P1, P2, P3 value, what it says, row cache lock, DB file sequential read, and TX NQTX allocate ITL entry, and NQTX row lock contention log file sync. Right, by looking at this one, as I said, like DB file sequential read, so there's a lot of blocks they are retrieving it from my database. It's a DB file sequential read, right? So they're reading a lot of data from my disk to buffer cache. So there might be a lot of like full table scan, or you have to predict like what was happening at your database by looking at them. And you have to look for top SQL with the top event, like where's the top SQLs and top event, where's the top SQL and top event. Okay, top SQLs and top event, these are the top P1, P2, P3, and top SQLs by command type, and top SQLs by top wait events. Here it is, top SQL with the top events. You can see here, right? Top SQLs with the top event. This is SQL ID, and this is the log it is generating, and this is, you can see, insert into this particular table, right? This is the one of the IO operation that is making this particular log. And this, if you look into this particular SQL ID, it is doing a select star from and select row ID, like it is doing select inside select, like index range scan, it is doing index range scan, right? And then this particular SQL ID, it is doing update this entire table, right? So it is doing update table, so they are doing update table. So you have to look into that, and based upon that, you can determine what was happening at that particular time, why your query was not running. And if you found out this is a particular SQL ID they are running, and you have to look into that and what they are doing and what was the execution plan and what is doing, everything you can predict it out. And then ASH report, top blocking sessions. Again, if I can go to my this one, top blocking sessions, where is the top blocking session? Okay, top blocking sessions. Top blocking session, no, right now in this no top blocking session. Here, if you see here, this particular SID, and this is the activity, and this is row cache log, and 60% of event, and user is this one, and this is the program, and samples active, like see 98%. So you have to check it out at this time. There's a one particular session was blocking. Due to that, the program, like standard program, what I was saying, that program might be waiting because of this particular the blocking session. You have to look into this top blocking session. What are the blocking session at that time. And then activity over time, you can check it out, what all how much time it used to take for each of those logs or each of those events. You can see row cache log, and the slot count is 4173, and the slot duration is 5 minutes, like approximately 5 minutes it is to take. So it is a huge difference, right? This event row cache is this many slot count, and then it took 5 minutes, and then obviously it is going to be huge difference, like 40% of the event. Then you have to look into that, why it was row cache lock was happened, and which SQL was causing that one. You have to predict that. And then the DBA history, active session history, you can the action plan is, you can create a table of this particular DBA active session history, and then you have to give the sample times, and then you can export that particular table, and you can refer that particular table, and you can keep it for the future reference, because as I said, this DBA history, active session history, default it will be having data for 7 days. So if you want to keep it for longer time, and then you can take a backup of that table, and then you can export that. And then DBA history, active session history, you can see by running this particular session, blocking session, and you'll find the result, like what was the blocking session, and then how you can wait it out. So you can query this table also, this table, whatever table I said, right? DBA history, active session history, this particular table, you can you can run the you can generate ESH report and you can predict that one, or you can directly query, you can directly select, or you can directly filter it out by querying against that particular table, right? So then if I go further, DBA history, active session history, again this is one of the sample SQL. You can run it out and you can see what was that particular session ID was doing. If you find out the session ID, and you can run this particular query with the session ID, and you will get it out what it is doing. It is doing alter table, and then this is SQL and begin. See this kind of output you will get it in your ASH report. And if you run this query against this particular session ID, you will get it was doing alter table. And that's it for the today session, I believe. So I have one particular ASH report generated for one of the customer issues. So I'm going to predict that ASH report in detail in my tomorrow session. Thank you guys.